Hi, welcome to Senior Circuit. My name's Ashley Speliotis, and I'm the director of the Somerville Council on Aging. Today, I'm joined by Mary Marshall, our nutrition consultant. Some of you may know Mary from her work at the Council on Aging, but for those of you who don't, why don't you introduce yourself to us?
Hi, I'm Mary Marshall. I am the nutrition consultant at the Council on Aging. I have been working for the City of Somerville since 2010, the Healthy Initiative program that the mayor started. And during COVID, I got initiated into Council on Aging. They invited me over, and I've been there for over 3 years.
Exactly. We've always had a nutrition program at the Council on Aging, but during the pandemic, you brought in some new services, some virtual services geared towards residents of Somerville and the surrounding communities who are over 60. And I know you brought a lot of your work from the Healthy Initiatives. And what were some of the programs there through Healthy Initiatives?
I would visit restaurants and help them create healthier versions of their own menu and bring the residents or constituents of the city into the restaurants and help them order off the menu. Originally, we decided we would go to Council on Aging and help the seniors do that, but COVID put a little bit of a damper on that, so I've brought that into the Council on Aging in some of my classes.
Yeah, lots of flexibility because prior to the pandemic, the seniors were really going out to all different restaurants and learning to eat healthy in that regard, and also going to the grocery store. And then the pandemic really pivoted to some things that have really remained true. So like your virtual classes, which you teach now, in conjunction with some in-person classes. And why don't you share a little bit about that in case people are interested, kind of your services which you provide at the Council on Aging?
Great. On Mondays, we do a virtual class at 11 a.m. and then at 12:30 at Ralph and Jenny, I do an in-person class. And we do 4 to 6 week classes. So it could range from balancing your diet to learning the food label and the food groups. Also on Wednesday, I have an in-person class that is at 10 a.m. And that also is a 4 to 6 week class, depending on the topic that we are discussing. And we also do larger events, monthly or bi-monthly, that a lot of people like to attend. Recently, we just did a nutrition bingo, which was a recap of all of their knowledge. And it was a really fun time. It was really interesting to watch the seniors interact and see how much nutrition they actually learned.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of laughs in that day, but it was great because, like you said, it was recapping what folks have learned throughout the year, really, because people have a lot of options. So they can go to this 4 to 6 week class on a certain subject, like reading the food label, like you mentioned, or carbohydrates, or I should really say, because you can go in the small group setting, or if that's not for you, you can go to the larger events, the one-time events, which kind of serve as a kickoff to your class, wouldn't you say?
Exactly. Whatever I teach in the big event, usually that kicks off into the 4 to 6. Sometimes it turns into an 8 week because they're so interested and they want to come back. So they try to get me not to stop the class, and we try to take breaks and change the subject. But I try to go with what they're interested in. For now, we're looking forward to the holidays, so they're all asking about holiday eating.
Exactly, yeah, and I think we'll talk a little bit about that today, because the classes that you have, the 4 to 6 week classes, the folks change in it. So it's not like you're signing up nutrition for life, or maybe you are, depending on where your interest and where your needs lie. So your needs can be met in either that big class or in the smaller group if there's a certain topic, or maybe you didn't know there was a topic you needed.
Right.
And then with some...
always listen to everything I have to offer, but they take tidbits and apply it to their own lives.
That's right. And that's kind of what's great about the group class too, and even the larger classes, the larger events, which can get up to 30, 40 people in the class, and the smaller groups, or what do you say, like about 10 to 15?
Yeah, I've gone up to about 18, but it depends on the topic. If if we cover a topic that they all don't want to hear about, then they have
Yeah.
me change into something that they like a little bit, so I can sway, I can change it so that it's always to something that they enjoy.
Exactly. And this month, or coming up this month, is holiday eating. And what
Correct.
are some of the topics you'll be discussing in class?
Well, the first is, we'll be talking this Wednesday, and yesterday we discussed stress and not being stressed and trying to enjoy the holiday by planning your sleep, planning your foods, planning your activities. So this way you're not so stressed out. And, so we'll talk about balancing out all the goodies that come along with the holidays, because everyone likes to indulge,
Yeah.
but we all have our own, issues as far as weight or medical issues. So trying to work around that gives them a little bit less stress of, oh, I can't have this, I can't have that, rather than saying, oh, I can have that, but I have to do this instead.
Exactly. And stress is a big part of the holidays. I know when clinicians who work for the Council on Aging are even writing their daily tips, which we post on Facebook and Instagram, stress is always a big factor. I believe your topic touches upon stress as well.
It does. Yeah. This month, my weekly topic is nutrition tips is all about stress and eating correctly, but make sure that you're enjoying the holiday. And, and like I said, planning. Thanksgiving is one of the ones that, yesterday someone said, well, I get up and I don't eat all day so I can save all my calories. And that's why they feel so stuffed. So I tell them, eat your regular planned day, and it's just another meal. You might overeat a little, but you won't feel so stuffed that it's not enjoyable. And that's, that's one thing that people have to realize, that it's just a meal,
Right. A delicious meal,
A delicious.
right?
I always tell people, and obviously everyone depends on me to bring the healthy item to the dinner that I go to, but I always tell people, if you know where you're going and that person always cooks the most decadent items, has a great menu that you don't normally eat, bring something healthy that you actually like so that you can pick on that, but you can still taste. So if you're tasting everything and eating yours, you won't be so full and you won't feel so stuffed.
Yeah, that's a good one. And I know you also mentioned in class recently, like maybe not sitting so close to the appetizers and.
Absolutely. And if you're not entertaining, that's hard. If you're the person entertaining, you're right near the table. But again, if you're that busy, you don't really want to be putting things in your mouth. So that's probably a good thing.
Yeah.
But if not, mingle, go around and talk to everyone, and always have, go to the vegetable table, and get some things, and load your plate, your appetizer plate with those things. But of course, go grab one of those, decadent things.
Yeah, always save room for dessert.
Absolutely.
Right? I know a lot of what can create stress during the holidays is really the extra cost and the burden of cooking more. Do you have any tips for maybe keeping costs down in the grocery store?
What I tell people to do is first look at your pantry, your cupboards, your cabinets, whatever it is where you keep all your foods. Look in your refrigerator. Write down what you actually have and then work around that. A lot of people go to the grocery store and they don't know exactly what they're going to cook, and they forget what they have at home, and then they buy all these extra foods and they end up having too much, and some foods expire, and that's so costly. So if you make a plan, you say, I already have all these canned goods, or I have this fresh vegetables, work around those and add to what you already have. That'll keep your costs down. On top of that, we have so many pantries and so many services in the city that look at what you have and what you might need, and go and go to the pantries and pick up some of the other items before you head out to the grocery store. You may see that your grocery list has been cut down to a third.
Exactly. And I know you brought us a sample of what you can receive from a food pantry in Somerville, from the Greater Boston Food Pantry, which actually one of our senior centers, the Ralph and Jenny Center, serves as a distribution site. So once a month, the Greater Boston Food Bank will bring us boxes where each resident who signs up, it's a pre-sign up program will receive 40 pounds of canned goods and foods in addition to a fresh vegetable and a milk product, either powdered or liquid, and some fruit, some fresh fruit. So I know that this pantry in particular is meant to be shelf-stable food. It's meant to be food that you can perhaps make meals out of, or perhaps use as side dishes or supplements, a supplementary food bank. But I know they put a lot of care into picking the food. Is that right, that they distribute?
Absolutely. This box itself is you can make meals out of all of this without leaving your house to go to the grocery store. The milk that comes with this is, like she said, is 1% milk. It's either liquid or it's powdered. So there's a cereal, there's fruit, there's raisins, there's canned fruit. It's all in light syrups. It's high in fiber. If there's not a fresh vegetable or fresh fruit, excuse me, people say, well, is that better to have fresh? Well, if you can get fresh, that's always great. But there's just as much nutrient and fiber in canned fruits. So I tell people, if you don't have it in the house, but you know you have it in the cabinet, then you have your meal. So don't always stress about getting to the grocery store. Again, the vegetables, I'm one of those people that I open up a drawer and say, oh, I forgot that I had that. But if I have canned green beans or I have yams or something that spinach that I can make omelets or I can put into something else that's already in my house, I don't have to leave to go run out to add to my meals. So this box here, what I love about this box is it has rice and lentils, which is someone's breakfast, or the corn biscuits with the milk is also a breakfast. We have pasta. People love to make pasta with the tomato sauce. We have grapevine tomatoes. There's actually already made tomato sauce that you could have a pasta dinner and add your vegetables to it. The chili and the protein, the chili and the beef stew is so high in protein, and the vegetables also are high in protein, but we also add lentils and all assorted beans. So you can make all your meals out of just what comes out of this box. So that is what's so special about the way they pack this, because you don't have to really think, because you can take anything from here. And what I like to do is give people ideas of what comes in every box, help them break it down so that they might not even have thought of that they could use, some of these items for meals.
Yeah, exactly. Like lentils and rice for breakfast is not always commonly thought of as a breakfast food.
But I have a lot of the seniors that do that.
Exactly. And I liked what you mentioned about the canned fruit versus fresh fruit, because this food pantry does give you a little bit of a mixture, but the fresh fruit goes bad pretty quickly, or for those people who have difficulty getting back and forth to the store, the fresh fruit can come in handy.
Exactly. And I always tell people, in the bad weather, and it's coming, a lot of seniors don't like to venture out. So if they have a can of vegetables in their cabinet, they're going to say, well, I don't have to go get something. I have it. So it's not going to go bad. So I love the shelf life that they do.
And is the vegetables the same way as the fruit? Versus, I know there's a lot of talk about fresh vegetables, canned vegetables, or frozen vegetables.
Actually, from all the research that I've done, and I search on fiber all the time, and the vegetables that they offer are high in fiber, low in sodium. I do tell everyone, okay, so it says low in sodium. Rinse them anyways if they're rinsable. Like yams, I wouldn't rinse my yams. But I would definitely rinse, the spinach and the green beans and things like that. And also the fruit, it comes in the lightest of syrup, but drain it, get rid of it, and you could add it to your cereal. So the nutrients are contained, whereas sometimes if fruit is not frozen immediately, and it's not, sometimes it could lose its nutrients, because as I tell people, when you check your frozen vegetables or your frozen fruits, make sure that they're not solid as ice. They should be kind of loose, so this way you can tell whether they've defrosted.
Yes, because the looser they are, does that mean perhaps there's more nutrients in there,
Well,
or it hasn't lost it?
I think it's just that they haven't been refrozen. So they probably will lose some nutrients. It's not necessarily, but they'll get more water to them, and so they will. And in my opinion, they will do that. And from what I've seen, in some of the studies.
Exactly. Great. I mean, that's great information to have, and a sampling of what they give you at the Brown Box Food Pantry at the Ralph and Jenny Center, and it's also distributed at the Armory through Somerville Cambridge Elder Services. And there are some other food pantries in Somerville as well, I know.
Yeah, the food resource for Somerville families, it's on the Somerville Food Security Coalition, and the website is somervillefoodsecurity.org, and I don't know if I can hold this up, but this is a great resource, and this website gives you all the places that there's pre-cooked foods or meals that you can sit down to, or you can just go and buy. You can go and pick up all your foods. We have Project Soup, the Daily Table, the Mystic Market, Elizabeth Peabody House. There's just a few of them. So all the pantries, even at Council on Aging, we have our own pantry that comes every Friday, I think, or?
We have the mobile market comes every Friday. So, but through Elder Services, a lot of the seniors do get some discount coupons. So with help with fresh vegetables and produce, because there are a lot of resources out there, and I know you work closely with our social workers at the Council on Aging along with other departments within the city to get the resources out there so that people have different options. And you mentioned like the packaged meals, so another nutrition program where the dietitians behind the scenes is the Somerville Cambridge Elder Services, their Meals on Wheels distribution,
Correct.
which we also benefit from at both of our senior centers right now, which serves warm, nutritious meals for folks on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
And what I like about them is they do specialized diets. So if you are in a low carb or a low sugar diet, they can accommodate most of the diets, and they're very well. They have a lot of knowledge on each and every senior.
Exactly, exactly. And that's a resource that our social workers, Natasha and Molly, are able to help people connect with as well as you. I know it comes up in your classes a lot, talking about different pantries and talking about different cost savings at the grocery store, and talking perhaps about generic versus name brand.
Oh, honestly,
Ad out there.
exactly. They want their nutrition. I mean, it's great. The seniors that we work with are really, they're really conscious about their health, and they're not looking for a new fad. They're looking to save $1 and to also get the best for their buck, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And to be a little creative, like you were saying, you were using these corn biscuits for a trail mix earlier.
My class, we do a class, and everyone says, "Oh, corn biscuits. What do you do with that?" Well, let's put it in a baggie. Let's put some almonds in there. So let's put the raisins in there. I do cheat a little bit, and I put some dark chocolate chips in there for them, and sometimes I'll get some Fiber One or something, and we throw it all together, and they've created it, they know what's in it, and it's not store-bought. And you know what? They've just gotten their box from the food bank, and now they know what to do with it, because a lot of people say, "Oh, I don't eat cereal." Well, now you eat trail mix.
Exactly, exactly. It sounds like for the holidays, it's kind of being a little bit creative with a lot of planning.
Planning is probably the biggest tip I can give, and I do a lot. Every class we always plan. Someone will ask me, "Well, how do I do? How do I get there? How do I do this? What on Thanksgiving?" Or now the holidays are coming for like Christmas parties, and a lot of that. Other holidays are coming up in December, and I tell them, look at your calendar and plan around that one day, that one party first. One party at a time.
Exactly, exactly. And maybe some recipes that you can prepare in advance or the morning of.
Exactly, yeah.
Well, I think there's a lot to think about when it comes to the holidays and for nutrition the whole year through, because I know people get a jump start in January, but
January's always, I always tell people, wait till the second week of January because the first 2 are a wash. You know, you're trying, but, you know, give yourself a break because you're still hungover from the holiday season.
hungover from good food, right?
Yes, absolutely. Oh, all those sweets. I mean, there's all those things that you don't normally have. And I tell people, enjoy them because you don't, if you're only doing them once a year, you know, you should enjoy them without all that guilt because you know that you'll get right back on track because you're coming to class next week.
Exactly, exactly. Your classes run all year through, like you mentioned, but with some breaks in between, some breaks for some of the larger classes. So you always contribute to the Council on Aging newsletter. People can find your information and tips there, as well as online on Facebook and Instagram.
Yep.
So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you,
we
Ashley.
look forward
This
to
was fun.
a nutritious year, right?
Thank you.
Thanks so much.